Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Emmy the Cat Lady, and you find me here at the Slog, which is the settlement and farm that's run by ghouls, which is one of my favourite little settlements in Fallout 4. I'm having difficulty with fences today, apparently. So this is the next episode of the Wasteland Biographies. So I wanted to talk about this man here. So this is Arlen Glass, and he lives here at the Slog, and you can see he is he's got the Giddyup Buttercup here. So Arlen was one of the co-founders of Wilson Automatoys along with George Wilson, and he is actually the person that created the Giddyup Buttercup toy, which is an iconic toy from the game and was incredibly popular before the war, even though it cost $16,000 each, which is kind of wild. But you see the posters advertising the toy everywhere, and you even find a huge collection of the Giddyup Buttercups on board the alien ship during Mothership Zeta, including one that was potentially experimented on and became dangerous. And clearly the Zetans thought it was a significant part of human culture, or they just like to collect these little toy robot horses, or ponies, I guess they're probably ponies. However, the success of the toy line meant that there was a lot of pressure at work, which meant that both Arlen Glass here and George Wilson, his business partner, neglected their own families to focus on the work. So let's have a brief chat with Arlen Glass here.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry, didn't mean to ignore you. Just got caught up in my work again. So, what do you think? Nice, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. Really nice.
You've got an eye for them too, huh? It's a genuine Giddyup Buttercup. The 2076 special edition. Best toy on the market before the war. It's a shame, though. I don't have all the parts to get this old girl working again. Don't suppose you happen to have a spare crate of toy parts on you?
No, but
What would it be worth to you?
How about, say, 150 caps? Sound good?
sure.
All right, I'll do it.
Thanks. This really means a lot to me. There's only one place to look for parts like this. The old Automatoys factory, south of Quincy. Not gonna lie, it's at the far end of the Commonwealth. That whole area's a death trap. Gunners and worse. Even for you, it might be too much. But if you're ever down that way, don't forget about me. Now, where was I?
There we go. So, yeah, Arlen wants us to go and collect the parts for the toys for the Giddyup Buttercup, but he's not kidding about how dangerous the location is. So if we set that as our active quest, and then we'll have a look at the map. So the factory is right down at the south, so it's this kind of swampy, boggy kind of area near Quincy, where there's gunners, there's super mutants, there's all sorts of nasty things down there. So quite difficult for a low level character, but is worth paying a visit. So we'll head over there just directly. Here we go. So now we're here at the Wilson Automatoys factory. So I'll show you the map. So we're right down here. So we've passed by the 4-leaf fish packing plant, Boston Airport. I just basically made a run straight down to reach this place. If you're playing normally, be aware that there's a lot of nastiness around here. There's super mutants everywhere, there's gunners everywhere, there's mines everywhere. Which we can find There's the toy parts. So yep, we can find the toy parts that we need here. Okay, welcome back. So we have reached the Wilson Automatoys corporate HQ. So now we just need to find a way to get inside. Oh, there's mines, because of course there is. No thanks. Brilliant. So this is inside, and you can see the super mutants have been making themselves at home. Can't open that door. I can open this door. So if you've picked up the key card, you can get in here. Hi guys, don't mind me. Okay, so there's another key card, ID card here, and then there's a note. But let's have a look at the secretary's terminal first, so we can get the details of what's happened. So essentially, in 2077, well, George Wilson ended up hiring his son Mark as vice president of the company, and then in 2077 he resigned and basically gave the president role to his son Mark. So that caused a bit of an issue, which we'll get into. So there's a note here just to remember your ID card for corporate security here and at the factory, and if you have issues with it, then there'll be disciplinary action taken. So security was taken very seriously, and then we've got a security bulletin about Arlen Glass. So be advised that Mr. Arlen Glass is no longer an employee of Wilson Automatoys. Should you see him on the premises, please notify security immediately. Mark Wilson, President and CEO. So clearly something happened, and if we have a look at this note here, Paula, Mark wants the Q4 sales forecasts revised down again, so remember that. You still have access to those records, see what you can do. It doesn't seem to matter what the number is, so long as it makes his new project look good. We're still on for Friday. Nate. Good for you. And then we've got a operations terminal here. So we've got Nathaniel Hawke, so that's who wrote that note. So we can have a look at his calendar for the last few days before the war. So we've got production estimates to be prepared, and then scythe briefing with the factory ops team, assembly line review with Mark, weekly facilities meeting, lunch with Mark and Arlen, which has been cancelled, review scythe slides for board meeting, and then a date night with Paula. So we'll see this name pop up a few more times. So we've got the scythe status report. The first phase of the scythe project is a week ahead of schedule. 2 of the 5 assembly lines have been converted over to scythe production. The third should be fully operational by Wednesday. An operations staff briefing has been scheduled for the 18th of October. Line workers will be trained on their new tasks over the next 2 weeks as we conduct test runs of the new equipment. Barring unforeseen difficulties, production should begin on the 1st of November. Obviously, we know that probably didn't happen. And then there's the same security bulletin about Arlen. The Super Mutants chat is hilarious. But, yep, right, let's have a listen to this.
Damn it, Nate, where are you? After today's meeting, it's going to take a miracle to salvage the scythe contract, and you decided to take the evening off? Look, I wanted to keep the old man out of it, but what could I do? He called me out in front of the board. I had to fire him. Where do you stand, Nate? Are you with me?
Where'd you
or
go?
with him?
Huh?
I want you in my office Monday,
find
9
you.
sharp.
Gonna
We can discuss
kill
the
you.
contract, or we can discuss your resignation. It's up to you.
Okay, so we can hear that clearly something happened at the board meeting, and that is what resulted in him basically firing Arlen Glass, and it caused some issues. I think this is just a storage room actually, I don't think we need to be in there. Okay, so now we're going to head upstairs to the main offices. So established 2042, Wilson Automatoys, and we've got a Giddyup Buttercup. So yeah, if you want the parts from Giddyup Buttercups, which they are full of useful crafty bits, this is definitely a good place to come for that. So let's see, we've got an office note. Sorry, Jen, I don't know any more than you do. Arlen always was peculiar, but the old man was the heart and soul of this place. I'm going to miss him, and his daughter too. Marlene was here just the other day, cutest little thing. I think Nate was just as shocked. He went straight home after the meeting let out, forgot all about her day. I'll give him a pass this time, Paula. So, clearly, but that gives us the password. Then the reception terminal, so Janine Jenkins, and a reminder about the board meeting. And they'll be joined by Colonel Thomas Nelson, US Army, professional conduct and decorum is expected. So for some reason the board are meeting with a military person, which is an interesting one considering that, you know, they make toys. Oh, there's a grenade cluster. Yep. There's traps, so be careful. Let's see. So, yep, security terminal. Let's see if we can get into this. I know how the hacking minigame works. Press to
Sweet.
pillows, nice. Okay, so there's the bulletin again, and you can disable the turrets here. Security protocol. All security events are to be logged. All employees and visitors must display their official Automatoys ID cards at all times and present them upon request. All visitors must be issued visitor ID cards by security. When not in use, visitor IDs are to be stored in the file cabinet in the security office. All visitors must be escorted by an employee or member of the security staff at all times. So that's their protocol. And then the logs. So we've got basically the last 3 days from when the bombs fell. So the 21st, morning rounds, no issues, reported electrical short in machine room, lunch, upgraded the turrets, ID issued for Arlen Glass, notified Mr. Glass she was still waiting, return visitor ID to file cabinet, evening rounds, no issues, log closed. So seems like a fairly standard day. And then the 22nd, this is when the board meeting was. So temporary ID issued to Miss Marshall, memo about the board meeting, visitor ID to Automatoys board, visitor ID for Colonel Nelson, and disturbance reported in the boardroom. So we know that something happened during that meeting. And then escorted Mr. Glass from premises at 3 o'clock, escorted Mr. Glass from premises again at 25 to 4, collected visitor IDs, evening rounds at 5:25, escorted Mr. Glass, notified police, log closed. So this was obviously something that happened where Arlen Glass kicked off at the board meeting, and we'll see exactly what happened shortly. And then the morning, 23rd of October 2077, so we obviously know the significance of that date. And morning rounds, and he had to escort Arlen Glass off the premises again at 8:30 in the morning, and then a temporary ID was issued. Then it's lunch break, and then everything was kind of timed out there. So obviously that's the point where the bombs fell. So that kind of ended everything there. So we need to figure out what this Scythe project is, and we'll get some details on that. So this obviously was the meeting room. Yep, stupid noises, everything's fine. Okay, good for you. So this must have been, I don't know, a briefing room or something like that. Lovely. But no, you're not, because combat AI is turned off. Okay, so this is the President and CEO's office. So if we can... hang on. Yep, so there's a holotape in the trash can which we'll listen to just directly. Excuse me, sir. Can you get out the way of that terminal, please? I just needed you to get out the way of the terminal, sir. Okay. Right, so... Okay. So we've got a warning here. Bombers incoming, get to shelter, see you on the other side, Tom. Okay, there we go. So here is Mark Wilson, the President and CEO's terminal. So his calendar, we can see a few interesting little things. So he had a brainstorming meeting with Arlen Glass, which was cancelled on the 18th of October, lunch with Tom, and then scythe briefing with the factory ops team, and then more briefings. So he was in DC on the 20th to talk about the scythe programme, and then anything related to sales and marketing has been cancelled, and anything related to working with Arlen has also been cancelled. So, and then we know about the board meeting. So, scythe programme approval. Mr. Wilson, your initial bid to participate in the scythe programme has been approved. While my superiors had their doubts, the specifications you provided for your factory more than meet our requirements. As a reminder, this programme is classified, restricted, as a cover of civilian manufacturing is essential to its success. Information about the programme should be tightly controlled and provided to your staff on a need-to-know basis only. Colonel Thomas Nelson, Director, Scythe Programme, Department of the Army. And then a memo about lunch, and then the scythe programme specifications. So now we're actually going to find out what this programme is. So the secret scythe programme seeks to repurpose civilian manufacturing infrastructure for the covert production of munitions, allowing for rapid military mobilisation in the event of a major conventional forces conflict. As an approved participant in this programme, you are to immediately begin production of landmines per your contract. Provided your quotas are met, limited civilian manufacturing may continue until and unless a full mobilisation is ordered. So basically this was a programme where the army basically commandeered civilian manufacturing facilities, factories and the like, to be switched over to producing munitions, to producing explosives or ammo or weapons, whatever the company was suited to produce. And that's not something that's without precedent. If we remember, during World War II, that was one of the things, was that a lot of women, because all the men were away fighting in the army, a lot of women ended up working in munitions factories and things like that. So it's not too surprising that something like this existed, especially given the war with China had been dragging on for such a long time. So that is basically what was happening here. So Mark decided that he wasn't happy with the situation, so he was basically going to come take over and make a lot of changes. So because of his bitterness, he basically had the projected sales for this fourth quarter of 2077 doctored to be much lower, to suggest that the company was going to make a loss. So what happened was he sent Arlen Glass on a mission where he would just be kept busy by trying to come up with new ways to market and to improve the sales of their toys, and new ideas, and that would keep him out of the way, so that when he was so he could basically do this in the background. Let's have a look at what we've picked up. So we've picked up a couple of things from the desk here. There's miscellaneous. Yeah, a known game. So there's resignation letter here, which is kept in the desk. So I know I wasn't the best of fathers. Automatoys took too much of my time and I couldn't be there for you when you needed me. Your birthdays, your graduation, your mother's funeral. But everything I did has always been for you. These past few years have been difficult. The toy business didn't come naturally to you, but you've grown into it. You deserve to be the next president of Wilson Automatoys. Congratulations, son. You've earned it. Sincerely, George Wilson, founder and president, Wilson Automatoys. So this is his official letter to say that he's handing over the company to his son. But we also have Arlen's manifesto here.
Mark, do you know why toys are important? They help children dream. They let them imagine a better future beyond this blasted war. They give them hope. 30 years ago, I met a man who understood that. Your father and I built Wilson Automatoys on that hope. He poured his life into that hope. And now, you've thrown it all away. Sold it in search of a quick profit. It's still not too late. If you won't do it for me, for your father, for the company, then please do it for the children.
So that was the message that Arlen basically sent to Mark as a last-ditch attempt to, you know, stop him from basically selling out the company to the army and the munitions and things, which is, you know, shut up. Mutants are so talkative. So essentially what happened was that at this board meeting where Arlen had spent a lot of time preparing to, you know, different ideas to try and boost the sales because of these projected losses in the quarter four. So he basically was kept busy, which kept him out of the way while Mark was setting up this thing with the army. But then it was revealed at the board meeting, and Arlen obviously kicked up a fuss, was very upset about this because it was a toy company and it was all about making toys for children. And obviously their biggest seller here, the Giddyup Buttercup, which is the ultimate in equestrian robotics. Giddyup Buttercup is programmed to perfectly simulate the behaviour of an actual horse. He neighs, he trots, he'll love you lots. And with no need to feed or exercise him, Giddyup Buttercup is perfect for urban environments. So that's your sales copy right there. Every girl's fantasy now, reality, and only $16,000 only. You know, considering that in the real world you could probably buy 3 or 4 horses for that price, but you know, depending on the breeding type and things, which is interesting. So that is basically what happened. So because Arlen kicked up a stink, essentially Mark fired him and had him escorted off the premises. Then the morning of the bombs, he basically tried to, one last time, he gave that holotape to security to give to Mark, and as you saw, we found that in the trash can. So we don't know whether he listened to it or not. He probably didn't. He probably decided he didn't care and just left it. So yeah, kind of a shame really. And then we've got this here. Remember, Marlene will be coming to your office after school on Thursday around 3:30. I'll stop by at 5 to pick her up, Cheryl. So this is a note from Arlen Glass's wife to remind him that his daughter was going to come to the office after she finished school, and then she would come and pick Marlene up from here after presumably she finished work. So this is us in the development office, which is Arlen Glass. So this is his terminal. So we've got a calendar, and you know, his meetings been cancelled, sales and market review has been cancelled, lunch with Mark and Nate has been cancelled, board meeting pending invite. So basically, and he's been working on product development and presentations for the board and things to no avail, which is quite sad. And then, funnily enough, they sent the security bulletin about him to his computer. Obviously, it was just sent out to everybody. But if we have a look at the documents, so sales forecasts. Giddyup Buttercup sales forecasts 1st of October 2077. Based on current market conditions, analysts expect sales of the Giddyup Buttercup to decline in the fourth quarter from 122 million to 110 million, a year-over-year loss of 17%, and a disappointing showing in the important holiday sales period. Obviously quarter four, that's your Christmas period. Brand stagnation and market saturation at the current $16,000 price point are blamed for the continuing decline. And then we've got a draft reply. I don't believe these numbers. We've had solid sales for years. What's changed? If our sales really are down, we need to expand our market. Premium editions, collectible variations, maybe even try a boys line. I'll work up some ideas for next week's board meeting. It'll be great, you'll see. But I can't do this alone, Mark. Your father and I collaborated on everything. I don't know what the hell you've been doing for the past year, Arlen. So this is a draft about the sales numbers, and he's not buying it. He thinks, well, no, the things have been fairly consistent for a long time, but maybe if we try some premium editions, some collectible variations, try marketing towards boys instead of just girls, that kind of thing. But he never actually sent that reply. And then product brainstorming, so this is him obviously working through some of these ideas for what he could do to boost the sales. So body and hair colour variants, identifying marks, Mythics product line, Pegasi, unicorns. So identifying marks, I don't know, that's potentially and these toys probably are a bit of a reference to My Little Pony, which is obviously a toy line that's been around since the 80s, I believe. You know, and it's still something that's ongoing today. So, you know, some good ideas here. And then alternative markets, boys, cowboys, and Indians line, insensitive ? Probably. Ride and bucking bronco, princess line with crystal, gold, silver shodding. So another premium one. And then promotional tie-ins. So with Hubris Comics and having a robot horse from The Mechanist, Nuka-Cola having a limited edition, and potentially Vault-Tec as well. So he's even thinking about approaching some of these other big companies to do some kind of promotional tie-in with them, and, you know, make special editions that tie in with the likes of Nuka-Cola and Vault-Tec. So, you know, it's clearly something that he's passionate about, and it's clearly something that he's interested in, and he wants to kind of work on these ideas. So that's what he's spent a lot of time doing, while Mark's basically been selling the factory out to the military against his will. And then we can... wait a minute, have I missed the holotape? Is it on this terminal or is it on the other one? It's on the other one. Okay, so there is a holotape that's going to be quite important, so let's unlock this. As we have the password, and then we can open this door. So this is obviously where Arlen worked. This will be his workshop, and again there's more toy parts here and various things, and then we've got his development lab terminal, which we now have the password for. So let's see, so we've got reminders: pick up milk, eggs, Nuka, don't forget again, call home at 7, Marlene's bedtime, Marlene coming to the office, board meeting, new concepts, Marlene's birthday on the 3rd of November, still need card, wedding anniversary on the 18th, buy card, gift, trip, ? Check with Jen, vacation calendar. So he's basically put a bunch of reminders. So he's to phone home at 7 because his daughter's going to bed. So clearly he did work very late and wasn't home very much. So even forgetting to pick up, you know, bits of like shopping, food and things on the way home. But at least he's got reminders that he needs to get a card for his daughter's birthday, and his wedding anniversary is coming up and things. So he is trying to kind of remember. And then we've got the development log. So he's having some issues with the new leg servos that punched a hole in the floor. So yeah, so this would be him developing his, product development. The colour variations are a mess, tinting the metal, altered electrical impedance, so I'm trying automotive detailing now. Can't believe I skipped Marlene's recital to sit with a bunch of pink horses and watch paint dry. I'll make it up to her once this is all over. So again, this is part of the issue with his family, that instead of going to his daughter's recital, what kind of recital, I don't know whether it was dance or something else, but he's skipped that to watch paint dry basically, because he's working so hard on trying to develop these new variations of the toy, and there's obviously a wee bit of guilt there that he's working so hard and he's not spending time with his family. And then on the 20th, what a disaster. I haven't heard back on any of the licensing proposals yet. The shift supervisor at the factory isn't returning my calls. I don't have anything to show, and the board meeting's in 2 days. I can't afford to be tardy. Clock is ticking, Arlen. Clock is ticking. So again, this is him. He's reaching out about, the licensing and the kind of crossover with other companies. He's trying to speak to the people at the factory. And basically nobody's getting back to him, everybody's kind of ignoring him, and he's really worried about what's going to happen at this board meeting. So very, very unfortunate. And then we can open the safe, which is nice. I don't remember what's in it, whether it's just generic safe stuff, but there's also a holotape, Marlene's holotape, which we'll have a listen to. So let's see, yeah, just normal generic safe things. But yeah, unfortunately this is what happened. So he worked away on these ideas that nobody else was going to be interested in, because Mark's solution was to make more money by taking this government contract to make munitions instead of toys. And then unfortunately he came back one last time to try and convince Mark to listen to him. Got taken away by security, but managed to talk them into giving Mark this holotape, which Mark then proceeded to throw away. And he left the premises, and then the bombs fell, and he went back home to Cambridge to find a massive radioactive crater. Right, so we've come back to the Slog. But we're going to have a listen to Marlene's holotape before we go and speak to Arlen again.
Hi, Daddy. When are you coming home? You work too much. I want you to read to me again. Mommy says you're helping all the horsies find good homes. Take care of them, okay? I love you. Oh, Buttercup says she loves you too. We miss you. Come home soon.
So yeah, little message from Marlene asking when he's coming home, because she wants him to read her and things. It's quite sad and quite sweet. But let's have a chat to Arlen. Hello.
You're back. Were you able to find those parts?
Yes.
I've got them right here.
You do? All right. Let me take a look. Yes. It's all here. It's really all here. You've more than earned your reward. Here. Just like I promised. Now, I need to get back to work. Finally. Anything I can do for you?
So, yes, so now that we've done that, we can speak to him. So,
Are
you're
you
the
Arlen Glass? The toy designer?
I am. Where did you hear that?
Here's your...
I think I have something that belongs to you.
Holotape? Let's see now.
Go ahead. work too much. I want you to read to me again. Mommy says you're helping all the horsies find good homes. Take care of them, okay?
I have.
I love you.
And you.
Oh, Buttercup says she loves you too. We miss you. Come home soon.
Oh, Marlene. Give me a minute.
Of course.
It's been so long. I never thought I'd hear their voices again. You can't imagine what this means to me.
So, yeah, what actually
happened to them?
We had an apartment in Cambridge. I went to the office that morning to try to talk to Mark again. When it all happened, I tried to get back, but the city was in chaos. By the time I got home, there was only a crater. I lay down in the ruins. I just wanted to die. Instead, I woke up like this.
Yeah, I lost my family
It's
too.
a long story, but I lost my husband and my son too.
Then maybe you can understand. She was right, you know. I did work too much. And now I'll never hear her voice again. Never get to hold her. Kiss her goodnight. All I have left are the memories. And this tape, as one parent to another. Thank you.
What now?
I can't possibly repay you for this. Here, take everything I have. It's not much, but... And one more thing. I was saving this for her birthday. All these years, it was all I had to remember her by. Please, I want you to have it.
There we go. So he's given us a Buttercup toy, which is a kind of unique version. Yeah, thank you, Arlen. Oh no, what the press the wrong button, hang on. Oh, he's listening to it again. Oh.
When are you coming home?
So we've at least been able to give him something to remember his family by that he's lost. So that's what happened. He got kicked out of the office, and then he tried to get home, but the bombs were coming, and by the time he reached Cambridge, he found nothing but a crater, which we know there is a big radioactive crater in Cambridge, and at that point he just lay down and waited to die, but unfortunately, or fortunately I guess, he became a ghoul instead. But now we can at least give him a little bit of peace of mind.
Nice to finally have the parts I need.
Yeah.
Now I can get some real work done.
So yeah, we can leave him to it. So we can have a look at his terminal, which is just, again, he's obviously still got this habit of leaving reminders for himself, and he's talking about, you know, the pool filter replacements and things. So essentially, using his engineering skills to be able to help keep this settlement running. So they've got the Tarbury growth in the swimming pool and things, so that's obviously something that he does, and he's using all his skills not just for making toys but for actually helping people survive and helping keep this ghoul settlement running. But he's still clinging to the memories as well of what he's lost and what happened to him, that he got screwed over by his former business partner's son, and then the bombs fell and he lost his family and things. So it's, you know, it's a sweet story, but it's very bittersweet, and you know, the fact that we were able to give him some closure and something so that at least he could still hear his wife's voice and his daughter's voice and something to remember them by. So it is. It's a really sad story, but I think it's a really interesting one, and it's one that could be quite easy to miss because you come here and you talk to Wiseman, who's in charge, and then they want you to go and kill a bunch of super mutants and things. And this guy doesn't really kind of draw too much attention to himself, but then if you speak to him and if you investigate the company and get the parts for him and find the holotape and give it to him, you know, it's a really interesting wee story, and obviously involving these iconic toys, the Giddyup Buttercup, which, you know, is something that's quite iconic from the loading screens in Fallout 3. We see the posters everywhere, and you know, the aliens, the Zetans seem to like collecting them as well, as we can see. I'll put in a few pictures here of the Giddyup Buttercups on the ship and Mothership Zeta, which, you know, it's an interesting DLC, that one. You know, it has its flaws and things, but I do find that they seem to be, I don't know if it's a reference that to the fact that aliens often kind of abduct cows and things, and they assign a lot of importance to cows because, as we talked about in the Brahmin video, you know, cattle and the domestication of cattle really had such a huge impact on the development of human societies in various parts of the world that the aliens have maybe thought that these robotic horses are kind of filling that role in a way, and that's why they've collected so many specimens of it. I don't know, but it's interesting, and I think Arlen's story is lovely, if quite sad, in some ways. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna fast travel away, and then I'll probably just wait a few days, and then we'll go back and see, because if you give him the parts and go back later, then he can leave something for you. So I'm going to see if we can make that happen. Okay.
Wiseman's in charge here.
Yep, I know. Ah, there we go, yep. Normally he leaves a note, but yeah, so come back and there's a completed Giddyup Buttercup. I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be a note, but it's maybe falling through the world or something, you know. You know what the physics engine is like in this game. But yeah, so his terminal's gone and he's gone, and he's left this completed Giddyup Buttercup which he can take. And the note that he leaves should say that it's to be, you know, it's for a child that needs it. So you can bump into him around the Commonwealth. You do sometimes find him paying a visit to the Cambridge crater, or you can find them as part of the kind of random encounters and things throughout the game that you can stumble across. So yeah, it's kind of a nice ending, and it's nice to give the poor guy a bit of closure, because it seems like all he wanted to do was to make toys and make children happy, but he's obviously got some regrets because he spent so much time working and making things for other children that, you know, he started to kind of neglect his daughter and miss out on things in her life, you know, sort of recitals and stuff like that, and, you know, having to make sure that he remembered to get a birthday card for her and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, he's got some regrets, and the fact that he never got the chance to kind of say that to his daughter, and to, you know, that he wasn't there when they died, and he then didn't die like he hoped he would when he stayed at the crater and he ends up a ghoul. But he's then managed to kind of find a new purpose for his life, and he's rediscovered, you know, working in a community and things. So I think that's really nice. But but, you know, quite a bittersweet little story. But that's the story of Arlen Glass, the designer and creator of the Giddyup Buttercup toy, and the life that he has found himself in. Hopefully you found that all very interesting. I do like the Slog, because it's a great little settlement. The fact that they've taken this swimming pool and turned it into a working farm for Tarberries, and you know, they're welcoming to all, because a lot of them left Diamond City because of the discrimination against ghouls, that kind of thing. So it's a great wee place, and I think it's quite an interesting story. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Did you do this quest for Arlen? Did you find the holotape and learn about what happened with the corporate stuff and the military, you know, selling out to the military and all that kind of thing? Let me know what you think, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.